What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorian Show. My name is Dorian. I am your captain for the day. Before we get started, I just want to shout out to some of my listeners over in Europe and in Canada. It's pretty crazy. I don't have many listeners, but I'm already Mr. Worldwide, as they say, like Pitbull. So, yeah, some of the listeners I've been getting are from Canada, Germany, Spain, and France. So shout out to them. Welcome to the podcast. Everybody's welcome to listen and listen to me ramble for about 40 to 50 minutes. But yeah, if you guys are listening to this too on YouTube, watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, hit the like button, and give me some comments and questions in the comments below. And I'll try to answer them all. Of course, if you're listening to this in any podcast platforms, just subscribe, and I will continue giving you guys content every single week. But yeah, welcome. What a crazy week it's been, at least in the financial markets. Today I want to talk about Barstool Sports and the whole drama with Dave Portnoy, who is their president and the founder of Barstool Sports. So you guys don't know what happened this past week. I guess I'll fill you guys in. Basically, Dave Portnoy. there was a piece about him on Business Insider. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that publication, but they basically talked to a bunch of people the past 8 months, and they tracked down two women that Dave Portnoy has had sexual relations with. And they kind of paint him in a really terrible light. That's up to you guys to judge. But basically, the first story is about a woman who, I think she was like 20 years old at the time, maybe, and he was 43. She hits him up in the DMs. She tells him about her like rape fantasies, and they have this like back and forth, basically like very like sexualized text exchange. He flies her over to wherever he is at on a first class flight. They have sex, and then it turns out afterwards, when she was interviewed by this person at Business Insider, she was just saying like Dave was really rough. She never said no, but she felt like she was being raped. And the second story is kind of similar. A young woman hits up Dave Portnoy. They have this exchange. They go over there and then they hook up, and then the women seem to have a really bad experience. So it goes crazy because the story came out the day of Penn Gaming, basically a gambling casino business that owns a significant chunk of Barstool, and I think they have the option to buy it all in a couple years. So they missed earnings, number one, by almost like half. And then the stock dropped like 20%. And a lot of it had to do with the story coming out about Dave Portnoy. And then the day after, it like popped back up by like 7%. So that's a big story about Barstool Sports and Penn. And however you guys feel about Dave, that's on you. Like, what's my opinion on this, I guess. It doesn't make him sound good, if he's kind of like roughing up these young women and they don't like it. But at the same time, they are adults, and then I feel like in the media we either treat women as children or they're adults. So I don't know, what are they? They're 20 years old. They're young for sure, but they're also adults. So, are they, do they have some agency in their own lives? Like, they're able to make the decision to reach out to him, to like flirt with him, to take up his offer on his flight to his home. And all of a sudden when they're there, they're unable to tell him that they're not comfortable anymore. Like, it just sucks, but like, you have to speak up for yourself. Okay. I don't know if I'll get hate for that. It doesn't matter. But let's talk about the business itself, like Barstool Sports and Penn Gaming, and if it's something you should be investing in. Just to be upfront, I already sold my Penn stock maybe a month ago now, so I could buy into the uranium stuff. I made like $500. It wasn't too much. I mean, for like the amount of money I invested it's really just almost break even. It feels like. But in terms of the value of Barstool, like what do I think they bring to Penn? I definitely think Barstool has like a really loyal following for sure, but how you turn that into monetization, I'm not too sure how to do it. I guess their biggest thing is sports betting. And as more states legalize sports betting, it will help Penn's business, obviously, if they're going through and making bets through the Barstool betting app. The thing with like sports betting or casino betting, it's like they make money on the volume of bets, and they don't really make money on they don't make too much money. You know what I mean? Like when someone sees like a wide spread on like the Lakers game or something like that, they're like the casino sets it up so they can make money on both sides of the trade. So they're making like a very slim margin on the casino bet. I mean on the sports betting. So I think their number one drive is they want to use Barstool's brand to get people into their casinos. So there's a couple of casinos out there already have Barstool's, what do they call those? The sports books. And they're hoping to get people to go there. But really they want people to spend all their money gambling on other things like blackjack and roulette, etc., etc. So that's what I think Barstool's main value comes from. And I think they could help a lot. But at the same time, I feel like the structure of Barstool is very fragile. I think that Barstool and Dave Portnoy are very interchangeable. I think Dave Portnoy is Barstool Sports. And if ever the time comes when he leaves Barstool Sports, you know, he's talked about like if he makes like a certain amount of money, he might quit. I don't know what will happen. I don't know if Barstool will be the same without him. And I don't know if people will care as much. They don't care. They won't. I don't know if they'll care about Barstool as much if Dave Portnoy is not there. And it's kind of weird. Like, how do you just gonna keep him on forever? He's definitely one of the hardest working guys out there. He's doing all these gambling shows. He's doing podcasts with TikTokers. He's doing a pizza review show. You know, he is the face of the franchise. You know, and if he leaves, like, is the product still the same? I mean, there's also other characters or people in Barstool that have a following, like Big Cat and some guy named KFC, but I don't know how big that following is, or if Dave leaves that, like, will they be able to, you know, keep up this fan base that Barstool has garnered? I'm speaking of that, like, so anyway, I just want to get back to that. So I don't know. I think Barstool is worth a lot with Dave Portnoy, but if he leaves, I don't know if the value is still there, because for me personally, I think he is Barstool, and without him, is Barstool even the same? So I mean, that's a huge risk. What if he becomes a billionaire in 5 years, or he leaves, or if he gets canceled by another one of these pieces, and he's forced out of the company? Like, will Barstool remain the same? I don't know. And then I just want to pivot a little bit over to someone that Barstool Sports lost, and this is actually something I should have talked about back then, but I didn't have a podcast. But if you guys aren't aware, there was a podcaster, female podcaster, Alexandra Cooper, who runs like basically one of the most popular podcasts in the world called Call Her Daddy. And they lost her to Spotify for like $60 million, and for 3 years she left Barstool. She says she'll still sell merch through them, blah blah blah, but you know, that's a really big missed opportunity with her in terms of Barstool, and also like having keeping her around. Like, I don't know if they ever discussed this with Penn, but they should have basically offered her a lot of money. She, in my opinion, I think she is like Joe Rogan level. What Joe Rogan's audience is probably mostly male. I'll call her daddy's audience is probably, it's the core demographic that you want in females. I'm assuming she's getting female listeners from age like 14 to like their early 30s. And that's like a very powerful group, and a group that you could probably, tap in and monetize. And yeah, I don't know why Barstool let her walk. I don't know if they think they couldn't afford her, or if Penn felt like she's not worth like a 80 million or 100 million. But I think they messed up. I think, you know what I mean? I think they should have just gave her $100 million in Penn stock at the time to lock her down for like, I don't know, 5-6 years. I think she might be, as a person, she might be worth $1 billion within like 10 years. Just to think about her core audience and how old she is. I think she's probably in her early 20s. I think she's like 23 or 24. So as she grows older, right, so does her followers, so does her fan base. So like if you think the youngest part of her fan base are like 24 years old, 14-year-old right now, they'll be 24 in 10 years, and they'll have purchasing power. And then her fans that are like growing up with her will also be around. And if you take a look at, who do I want to talk about? Let's say like the Kardashians, like they make so much money on merchandise. They make so much money on like perfume and clothing and all that, basically making them into billionaires. I feel like you could do the same thing with Call Her Daddy and Alex Cooper. And she has a personality. She has people listening to her talk every single week, and I think that's like a bigger draw than you think. I honestly don't even know how Kylie Jenner sounds like. I know who she is. I know how she looks like. I know she's a billionaire. I don't know how she sounds like. But I know who Alex Cooper is. I've seen a couple episodes of her podcast. I was very into her whole scandal with Barstool Sports maybe a couple months ago. And they had that drama where they trying to break away from Barstool, and she split up with her partner on the show. You know what I mean? Like, that was like good entertainment, and people were really bought in. Like, people that never heard of it before tuned in. People never heard of Barstool tuned in. And I think that was probably a mistake that they let her go. I think if they kept her around and just gave her a bunch of shares, then maybe Barstool would be bigger than Dave. Right now if Dave leaves, I don't know if anyone could like kind of fill that role. They have a couple of good podcasts out there. They have the $1 Million Worth of Game. Basically like more into like hip hop and like black culture, hip hop culture. And it's a pretty big podcast. I think they have like on YouTube a couple 100,000 views on video, but do they have like the mass appeal of someone like Alex Cooper? I don't know. They're definitely successful on their own, but I don't know if they are a game changer in a public company. You know what I mean? Like, there's someone I could see Spotify wants to buy out to add on to their catalog, but only once in a while you're able to come across like a Joe Rogan or an Alex Cooper. I think they really missed their opportunity there. And I think Alex Cooper was able to just sell more of a lifestyle than Joe Rogan. What does Joe Rogan sell? He sells vitamins, tickets to his show, but he doesn't really sell any products. But Alex Cooper is a lifestyle podcast. She could sell clothing. She could sell perfume. She could have like themes and casinos. With her brand, Call Her Daddy. It's a missed opportunity. I wish Penn hired me a couple months ago, and I would give her the farm, give her everything. But anyway, that's what I think about Barstool. I think Barstool is very valuable as long as Dave Portnoy is around. But if he ever leaves or get canceled, I don't know if they're worth anything. But yeah, I got a listener question today from my last episode from one of my friends. He left a comment on YouTube. And he said, what did he say? He said, can we get an update on your uranium play? Sure thing, buddy. So I'm still holding on to both Cameco, CCJ, and also Sprott Uranium Trust, SRUUF. I think I'm down maybe a couple $100 in Sprott, the Uranium Trust, and I think I'm up like maybe $1,000 on a CCJ Cameco. And I still believe in the story. I actually just bought more Sprott Uranium Trust when they dipped a little bit under $11 a share. I think I bought like $1,000 worth of shares there. You know, right now I think uranium is probably like $45 an ounce. If you guys didn't listen to my uranium squeeze play, basically I believe the price of uranium would go up because there's a demand for energy, for green energy, and nuclear energy makes up like 20% of the electricity in the U.S. and 30% in the world. And if you were to get rid of all nuclear plants today, there's no way we could ever replace those. And I think more and more people are starting to realize that like windmills and solar panels aren't as reliable as we once thought they were. They just take up too much resources and too much land. I'm not saying like we should get rid of them, but I think uranium needs to be a bigger part of it. And I think a lot of countries are starting to turn around to that. And that being said, there's a shortage of uranium, and there will be an even shorter. There will be less uranium in the future, and I believe the price of uranium will be shooting up realistically, probably $80 to $100, and in a really good scenario for investors, I might go up to $200 and $250 a pound. So if you could guess where we're at, we're at $45 a pound. There's a lot to go. If you buy the Sprott Uranium Trust, SRUUF, which is basically an index that holds uranium, so they should move up with the price of uranium. So if you think uranium is going to go 5 times more, then a share of the Sprott Uranium Trust should be worth 5 times more, right? So right now it's like 10. Let's say it's like $11 or $10. To make it simple, let's say it's worth like $10, then you would think in a couple of years it'll be worth $50, right? No guarantees, but if you think the price of uranium would go up, then obviously it should follow. And then CCJ, which is a miner as in like digging for minerals, not someone that's a child. The uranium miners are leverage play because they have all their costs up front to pay like researchers, paying people digging the plays, their equipment. But every additional pound of uranium they're going to find is just straight profit. You know what I mean? So if you think Sprott could go up like maybe 5 times, then someone like Cameco could probably go up like 8 times, 10 times, because they're the ones benefit from selling uranium. However, in the long run, minerals are cyclical. These precious metals are cyclical, meaning the price of uranium is going to shoot up and everyone's going to try to drive in and try to be miners. And then there comes to a point where there's going to be too much uranium and the price will fall. So this is not like a forever play. You just need to look at it and make your decision when to sell. So I'm probably going to look until the price of a pound of uranium hits like $80. Then I'll have to reevaluate. But right now we're not even close to that. And most miners say they're not profitable in exploring for new uranium until it hits probably $60 a pound. So if you think of it this way, like once uranium hits $60 a pound, people would jump back in to try to find new places to mine uranium because that's profitable for them. And then as the price goes up, more people would jump in and try to get in on the money. The thing is, it takes a long time for the mines to get started. It takes up to like 16 to 2 years for a mine to get started. So I think when the price of uranium jumps up, it'll be slow, and all of a sudden it'll be really rapid. So it'll be maybe slow to hit like $80 a pound, but it'll be pretty quick getting to $100 a pound, because that's when the shortage is like very apparent, and every day it's like there's no more. You know what I mean? So if it's like 10 pounds left and compared to the 1 pound left, and it will jump up real high, and that's when a lot of people will jump in and throw in money, and then I think the fall will be really quick too. So you gotta watch out for that. But yeah, let's talk about my stand-up this week, my open mic career. I finally got a message back from this guy that I sent a 5-minute clip to him, right? Because I'm trying to get on his free show. It's free to enter, but he asked for a donation at the end of the day so he could pay himself and I guess his comics, which is cool. But it's basically a free show. If no one donates, then you don't get paid. So the story was, I checked out his show. It was about like maybe an hour and a half and 2 hours long. The show was all right. I thought maybe a little bit too highly of myself, and I thought that, I could probably go up there and do 10 minutes. Like, I think I'm at that level. So I talked to him. I was like, all right, cool. He's like, send me 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, cool, dude. I'll send you 5 minutes. So I sent him 5 minutes. I thought the 5 minutes was okay. No, I think that the 5 minutes was good. It's probably, it came out, the jokes were delivered the way I wanted it to. The crowds are always kind of iffy because I'm doing open mics. So I sent him this 5 minutes, and he watched it maybe like 3 times. Either he watched it 3 times or he was sending it around to the people that make these decisions to kind of get their feedback, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't hear anything back from him. And I was pretty bummed out. And then he got back to me maybe like a week after I sent him the clip. And he basically said, hey, sorry, I'm not feeling this. His exact words. He says, sorry, I am not feeling this. I do not think you are ready. And I was like, oh my God. I had like all these mixed emotions. Like part of me was like, yeah, you've only done this like maybe a month and a half, 2 months. It's really too soon for you to do any shows. But also the part of me that's fooling myself is like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, I've been to your show. All right, we watched the same fucking thing. I've been to your show. And these guys aren't professionals, man. Like, they're honestly, I think if you put them into the open mics with the rest of us, they'll get the same reaction. All right. I'm not saying these guys are terrible. I'm just saying they're not at a higher level than I think some of the people I think are in open mics. I think they're a couple of people in open mics, me included, a couple other people are good enough to be on the show. That's my honest thought. And you could say I'm being narcissistic or whatnot, but that's how I feel. And it also depressed me, and I realized, like, oh, man, like, I think I talked about this last week, too. Like, I used to think, and I think I used to think this because all these, like, professional comedians are saying, like, if you're funny, you're undeniable. You know what I mean? Then, and that's all on you. Like, you don't need to ask people to give you a platform, kind of like in Hollywood, where if you're an actor, you need someone to pick you. But in comedy, if you're good enough, you could just, you could just do it because you're undeniable. And I don't know. I mean, part of me still feel that way. If you're funny enough, people will put you on. But as an open micer, like, I don't know, like, it's so hard to even gauge if you're funny or not, just because everywhere I go is full of other open micers, and they could basically know all my jokes. They know what's coming. They know what's the punchline. There's no surprise, right? And then the only way you could even test out your jokes for real is try to get on these shows. But in order to get on these shows, you need to basically have a showrunner pick you. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's because I'm not funny or the types of jokes I tell they don't like. On Friday I did an open mic, and the lady who runs it, super nice lady, by the way. She like brought me up. She introduced me, and she was like, "Oh, dude, you're this next comic. He's very edgy." And I'm like, "Oh shoot, is that like a bad thing or is that a good thing?" You know what I mean? And I wanted to do some new jokes that day, and I didn't write them down at all. I took a 3-hour nap beforehand. I woke up and I'm like, no, I think I got it. These are pretty funny. Go to an open mic. She says I'm edgy. I go up there and I'm not edgy at all. I mean, I guess I was, but my jokes weren't good at all. I don't even know if my jokes had punchlines. I just went up there for 4 minutes and just rambled and offended people. You know what I mean? If I sent in that set to that guy, obviously he shouldn't put me on in any shows ever. But I don't know. Where am I going with this? I don't know. Do I need to sound a certain way to get on a certain show? You know, I'm in a point in I don't know. It's funny because I'm not even trying to do this to make a living, and I feel like I'm already feeling the pressure and just feeling unmotivated, getting shut down by someone. I sent like a good 5-minute clip and I thought like, this is good enough. This is good enough to be on something, but they don't think it is. So I don't know. Back to the drawing board. Part of me thinking I need to just do my own show, honestly. Like, I think I need to get like 30 minutes. How the hell I'll know if this 30 minutes will be good or not, I don't know. But I think I need to get 30 minutes, get a couple of people on open mics that I think are funny. And there are a couple of people there that I already think are funny, and they should be on these free shows at least. And I don't know if they're doing it or not, but they should be on shows, and they're open micers, and they're funny. And I don't know. I feel like if no one's giving me an opportunity, I need to make my own opportunities, So my plan is to get maybe 30 minutes in, 25 minutes, right? And then get a couple other open micers that I think are really funny, have them do 10 minutes, get a place, work out a deal with a restaurant or something, make tickets like $20, beg all my friends to go. That's the one thing that's good to be in like your 30s, is that you have friends that have jobs, that have money that they're willing to spend to support you at least one time, So that's what I'm going to do. Maybe get 30 minutes, get a couple open micers that I think are really funny, beg my friends to show up, to show up so the venue could get some money, and I could pay the open micers. And after that, I guess I'll never do open mics again. No, I'm just kidding. I think that's a good goal for me to set so I could keep writing jokes. I was feeling very demoralized after getting that, and like lately I've been doing really late spots at open mics. Like, I'm going up last. There's like no one there. I'm saying the same stupid jokes that no one's listening to. There's nobody there listening to except for the two open micers that went before me. And then I come home, I think I have good jokes. I don't write them down. That's on me. And yeah, I don't know. 30 minutes is going to be hard to come by. Maybe I'll do 20 minutes. I was feeling a little under the weather this past week, so I decided to skip the gym for all week long, okay? And, if you guys think I have COVID, I don't. I don't have the side effects. I had a little sniffle, a little not sore throat, but like a scratchy throat. So I was coughing a little bit, but it's not. I can still taste. I can still smell. As a matter of fact, I gained 3 pounds this past week, not going to the gym, but also because I was eating a ton of shit. You know what I mean? People that get COVID don't gain weight, man, is all I'm trying to say. So I don't have it. If I did have it, I'd be probably looking snatched, as the cool kids would say, you know what I mean? But I'm feeling better now. I'm going to go to the gym this upcoming week. I'm already thinking about quitting it already. I think I like lifting weights more than doing boxing and stuff. But you know what? I want to give it at least 3 months try. So how when people have New Year's resolution, they sign up for gym memberships in January. If I don't like it, I'm going to cancel my membership in January because, I'm cool like that. I like to go against the grain. Sorry about that. Dropped my pen. The next thing I want to talk about is UFC 268. If you guys don't know, I'm a pretty big UFC fan. I tend to watch all the pay-per-views. And for this one, I just got to say I am thankful to the Lord. Thankful to God that I was not in Vegas this weekend, because I would have lost a ton of money. All right. So the 3 fights I really just want to talk about. Probably the most important fighters. The first one is Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler. And I think this is really eye-opening for everybody. Like, UFC is at another level, man. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these other fight promotions. Like, Bellator is probably the second biggest one. There's ONE FC, et cetera, et cetera. And once in a while I would watch it if there's like a popular guy in there. But UFC is a different animal. Michael Chandler came from Bellator, and he's defended his belt so many times that they say he's so good that he could immediately be put into contend at the UFC, right? So he comes into the UFC. He knocks out Dan Hooker, and Dan Hooker is a good fighter. He's a great fighter, actually. I don't know if he's title contender, but he's a great fighter. And Michael Chandler knocked him out. And then people are like, oh snap, Michael Chandler is gonna be the one. He's gonna be Bellator and UFC champion. That's crazy, dude. Like, here's proof that Bellator fighters are good enough to compete with anyone in UFC. And that's true. Michael Chandler, after that, he fought for the title immediately against Charles Oliveira. And it was close. He knocked Charles Oliveira down, but Oliveira was able to survive. And in the end, he actually won. He beat Michael Chandler, you know. So now and yesterday he fought Justin Gaethje, who I personally think Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and Charles Oliveira are probably like the top 3 fighters, and they, like, any one of them, I think, are capable of holding the title. And basically what happened is Justin Gaethje just demolished Michael Chandler. In my opinion, it wasn't even close. And I'm not saying that means Michael Chandler is not a title contender, but because it was close when he fought Charles Oliveira. But I'm saying, like, the UFC is a different beast. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think he was going to beat Charles Oliveira, so when he dropped him, I was like, oh snap. You know, I don't think he could beat Dustin Poirier. And I sure as hell didn't think he was going to beat Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje is a dog, man. And Justin Gaethje showed him what, like, a contender looks like. So I don't know, man. Michael Chandler is still really good, so I would like to see him fight some other people, you know. Maybe have him fight Jorge Masvidal. You know? Man, he's too big. I don't know. Maybe have him fight Conor McGregor when Conor comes back. And I think he might actually beat Conor, which is kind of crazy. The next fight, you know, that I probably would have made money on that fight. Justin Gaethje. I don't know what the spread was. The next fight I would have bet on was was Rose, Thug Rose, and against Zhang Wei Li, and I would have lost money, and I would have went in knowing I would lose money. So the first fight between the two, Thug Rose kicked Zhang Wei Li right in the head and knocked her out in the first round, and it sucked. I mean, I really like Zhang Wei Li, you know, Chinese fighter. She was super dominant, won like 21 in a row until she hit Rose. But I mean, honestly, Rose is in like a class of her own. Like, I honestly, the last fight I knew Rose was gonna win. I thought it would last a little longer, but I thought Rose was gonna win for sure. But this fight surprised me even more. Like, I thought Rose was gonna dominate, but it was actually really close. It came down to the 5th round. Rose got on top of her, top control for the whole time, and then it came down to a split decision. So one of the judges actually thought that Zhang Wei Li won, and the other two gave it to Rose. I would have given it to Rose, but I probably also would have lost $1,000 if I was in Vegas. So I don't know. We're probably looking at a trilogy here. Even though Rose won twice, the second was close enough where they'll probably fight in a trilogy. I don't know if it's going to be immediately. Probably not. Zhang Wei Li probably needs to fight another lady or two before she could get back up here, which is fine. I think her and Rose would basically dominate the whole weight class. And then finally down to the main event. Kamaru Usman against Colby Covington. And let me tell you, I saw when I was watching. So this is a rematch, the second fight. The first fight, it was super close until the 5th round, where Kamaru Usman dropped him twice, and they had to call the fight, which I thought was completely fair. I think Colby was fighting it. Even in that first fight, I thought Kamaru was the heavy favorite. Like, this guy is just so fucking big. And Colby surprised everyone. You know, he surprised everyone that he was able to go into the 5th, and I think it was 2-2. Most judge had it. It was a really close fight. But the scary thing is, since that fight, Kamaru Usman has gotten way fucking better in striking. And I was just like, I don't know. if it was even going to be close. I like in my heart, I knew that Kobe. In my heart, I thought Kobe was going to get knocked out in like 3 rounds, honestly. But I was rooting for Kobe just because I like underdogs. I like crazy people. You know, if you don't really know, in the NBA, I love like players like Nick Young. I love Lou Williams. I love Jordan Clarkson. You know, people that kind of have an edge on them. Not everybody's favorite. You know, when you tell people like that's your favorite, they give you like the raised eyebrow. So that's kind of me. Like I mean, I like traditional fighters too. I love Dustin Poirier. You know, but I also like weirdos, man. I love Tony Ferguson, and I love Kobe Covington. And man, it went down to decision, and he was dominant. He got dropped twice in the second round, but he was able to turn it around. And I think he might have won like maybe 1 or 2 rounds at 4 and 5th, or maybe just the 4th. And man, Kamaru Usman is just so good, and I feel bad for Kobe. And Kobe was getting some good hits in. It's just that there's a strength difference, which makes you like think and believe like it, like hard work matters, but God-given talent, like what you're born with, also matters. You know what I mean? Like Kamaru Usman and Kobe Covington both are really hard workers. They work on the craft, but Usman throws some bombs, man. Like I see Kobe hitting him right in the face, right in the chin, and his fists just bounce off his face like they're nothing, man. And you would see like one hit from Usman like in the face, blocked, not even clean, in the chest, in the stomach, and you could see just like the damage it's doing to Kobe, man. I gotta say, Kamaru is probably the pound for pound best fighter in the UFC, and I don't even know who's out there to fight him anymore. Yeah, he just like ran through everybody. The closest fighter is Kobe, but even after his last fight, I'm just like, dude, it's not even close. He's better than Kobe. I guess he could fight Gilbert again. I forgot what Gilbert's last name is. Big dude, ex-training partner. I think Gilbert could probably beat him. I mean, maybe beat him. Not even probably. The last fight, he dropped Kamaru Usman. He's a big boy. Good wrestler. You know, I think with the right training, maybe Gilbert could beat him. But honestly, like, who is Kamaru Usman going to fight next? You know, he already said he's not going to go in class because he doesn't want to fight Israel Adesanya, which I respect. You know, he said, he said he rather has 2 Nigerians with 2 belts rather than 1 Nigerian holding 2 belts, you know, because he doesn't want to challenge Izzy for his belt. But maybe he could go down, you know. I think he could probably, you know, fight with the big boy, the littler guys, the weight class of Dustin Poirier and Charles Oliveira. That's a lot of weight for him to drop. Kamaru Usman is a big guy, but, you know, if he could get down there, he might be able to, you know, hang with these guys. He's a little slower, but, you know, he's longer, he's bigger. So I don't know, maybe he should go down and like try to get 2 belts. And it'll be crazy, man. I already think he's the greatest of all time, but if he goes down one and like fights in that weight class with Dustin Poirier, like that's another stacked class, like weight class, you know. And what about Kobe? I don't know. If you lose 2 in a row to the champ and you're ranked number 1, like what do? I don't think they'll just give you another title shot. And unfortunately, he might have to wait until Kamaru Usman retires before he could get a title. And that's not like that's not like saying that he sucks or anything, but I think Kamaru's just that good. It's kind of like Khabib. You know what I mean? No one even had a chance of getting a belt. He just tore through that whole division. But now that he's gone, you know what I mean? Like people could battle it out for it. Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier could fight for the title in that weight class. And I think it's going to be the same for Kamaru Usman. And I don't even know if Kobe wants to keep doing this. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't think he has ever gotten any pay-per-view points. So he probably should go after big money fights. He should fight his ex-best friend, Jorge Masvidal. That would be a big fight people would be willing to watch. That's not a title. People would pay to see that. He could go fight Conor McGregor. He would have to go down in size or have Conor come up, you know. And that would be fun. You know, I think he'll destroy Conor, actually. But Conor it's quick, got a great striking power. So I think people will watch that too, like 2 of the villains, Conor McGregor versus Kobe Covington. People would pay that. Him fighting Masvidal, they'll pay that. And I don't know, man. Maybe he should go to pro wrestling. I don't know. But there's 2 fights for him. Masvidal and McGregor. I think people would pay. Just get him paid, and then he could leave. He could walk off into the sunset. And maybe Usman will retire by then, and then he could finally get a title shot and maybe win. But yeah, that's all I have, guys. Time flew by. Flew by with me just rambling on and on about Barstool Sports and the UFC. I hope you guys liked it. Thank you guys for sticking with me. It's only episode 4. I really appreciate it. I guess last week not a lot of people cared about philosophy and like absurdism. My views on YouTube dropped significantly. So hopefully you guys are still here. Thank you. If you guys are still here with me listening to this the whole way through, please subscribe, like on YouTube, leave me a comment, a question. I'll try to answer questions. And if you're listening to it on podcasts, tell your friends about it, subscribe to it, give it a good review. I don't know how that works. But yeah, I appreciate everybody here with me. I love you all. Take care. Have a good week. Ta-ta.